Welcome to Conversations. I'm Suresh Kochatam. What makes Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar a rock star? He's a star attraction wherever he goes. And there's no getting away from the fact Dr. S. Jaishankar, when it comes to speaking, has a mind of his own. One thing is very clear, and he makes it very clear. He speaks after a great deal of thought. He pauses, and the pauses are measured. He clicks his words, and of course, making it look as if he's stammering, and then delivers them with a knockout punch. Dr. Jaishankar knows that as a foreign minister, every word what he says will be analyzed threadbare, not just within India, but even outside. Any missteps in the foreign policy will be a disaster, allowing opposition parties to India to go for his jugular. Look at how Dr. Jaishankar handled the Maldivian issue, meeting President Musi and getting the State Bank of India to roll over a 50 billion loan. Now, the Maldivians are pleading with India to rescue them from a default. Remember how India helped Sri Lanka out when the island nation was facing a huge financial crisis. Later, when things stabilized, the Sri Lankan government acknowledged that India had a big role in helping Sri Lanka tide over that massive crisis. Then there's the latest one on BRICS. Why did India get into BRICS? Why don't Jaishankar ask them, let us get into G7? And so, since they didn't allow us, we formed our own group. He then talked about Quad with countries from different corners of the world. Now, when a reporter asked him how India would deal with Bangladesh's request to extradite Sheikh Hasina, Dr. Jaishankar replied very calmly that India would deal with the new government in the Dhaka on its own terms. The latest being his statement at the Geneva Center for Security Policy, where he said that India had sorted out 75% of its problems along the border with China. Look who said this. Not Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, but Dr. Jaishankar. One of his best and possibly most impactful of statements in various forums was about justifying why India bought the Russian oil. Specifically at Globsec 2022, Bratislava Forum, Dr. Jaishankar also did not shy away from stating the double standards and showing the double standards of Western countries, who, while imposing sanctions on Russia and Russian oil, did their own business with Russia. In fact, Dr. Jaishankar said, how they planned the sanctions was in a way that the Western countries won't see a traumatic effect on their economy, while not giving the same freedom to other countries like India. Later, when American media questioned India's purchase of crude oil from Russia, Dr. Jaishankar hit back in style, saying that the US should advise the same to its European allies. If you're looking at energy purchases from Russia, said Dr. Jaishankar, I would suggest your attention should be on Europe. We buy the same energy necessary for our energy security. But I suspect at the other figures, and when I look at them, our purchases, that is India's purchases, for a month would be less than what Europe does in an afternoon. Classic Jaishankar. While defending India's decisions to look for energy deals for its energy requirements, Dr. Jaishankar said, when the oil prices go up, it's natural for countries to go out and look in the market and look for what is good deal for their country and for the people. And he said, I'm pretty sure that if we wait for 2 or 3 months and actually look at who are the big buyers of Russian oil and gas, then Dr. Jaishankar said he suspects that the list would be not too different from what it used to be before. And he made it very clear that India won't feature in the top 10 of the list of those who are buying Russian oil and gas now. Later, in a response to a question by a Pakistani journalist whether there could be talks between India and Pakistan on combating the menace of terrorism, Dr. Jaishankar said, victims of terrorism do not sit together with the perpetrators of terrorism and discuss terrorism. At the UN Security Council stakeout, Dr. Jaishankar was addressing, and there was a question from a Pakistani journalist how Southeast Asia was going to see terrorism disseminating from New Delhi, Kabul, and Pakistan. Dr. Jaishankar's stern reply went viral again. You know, he said, You're asking the wrong minister when you say this. How long will we do this? Because its ministers from Pakistan who will tell you how long Pakistan intends to practice terrorism. Classic vintage Jaishankar. Dr. S. Jaishankar also launched a scathing attack on Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, saying that as a promoter, justifier and a spokesperson of the terrorism industry, his position as a Pakistani on the menace was called out at the SCO meeting. In a savage jibe at Pakistan, Dr. Jaishankar said Pakistan's credibility in dealing with terrorism is depleting faster than their forex reserves. What else one can say? Absolutely joyful to listen to Dr. Jaishankar. Politicians across the world and people from many countries are in admiration of Dr. Jaishankar for his forthright comments. You should go to YouTube and read the comments to his videos. In fact, these videos are laced with sarcasm and seriousness by Dr. Jaishankar. It's not often that you get people like him, career diplomats as ministers, and the way he pitches for a country that he stands for, the Bharat, calling a spade a spade. Thank you for watching. Jai Hind.